She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Oh, welcome all you beautiful listeners. Today we're talking about feedback.
And laughing.
And laughing, because we are 5 lemons laughing, aren't we? So today, feedback. So what do you do when someone gives you constructive criticism? Do you immediately go into defending? Do you attack? Do you take it in and try to work with what a person's telling? Do you walk away? There's all kinds of ways to deal with receiving feedback from our coworkers, from our friends, from our loved ones. And we are going to jump right into this juicy topic.
I heard you have a story, Amanda.
Thank you. I will start us off with a story. So I have, I'll give a positive thing feedback. And it really, for me, it makes a difference on who's giving me feedback, what their purpose is, and kind of what's behind it. Not just their purpose, but is there any ulterior motive running in the background? So the first example I have is I'm a massage therapist. And my intention is to be healing when doing massage. And I don't take any offense at all to someone giving me feedback about their body. And I had a client who stopped seeing me for a while. She just came for a series and then she just didn't come back for a while. And that's just kind of the natural progression. I didn't think anything about it. And then when she came back, she said that, she really didn't like what I was doing. It was, she was uncomfortable with the way that I moved her leg. It caused her some pain in her low back. And she started off by saying, "I'm so sorry to have to tell you this." And I'm like, so interesting. And zero offense, right? Like, I was thankful that she shared that this particular leg movement caused her discomfort. I wouldn't know that. Like, on 99% of the people that I work on, it actually is beneficial. So in that instance, zero offense. Like, when someone is giving me feedback about how they feel, how their body is responding, about their preferences, especially in that healing space as me, as the massage therapist, no offense at all. I'm so thankful. I don't know if it's always been like that. I can't think back to the beginning of my career. Probably I was a little bit more sensitive about, what someone giving me feedback, but I've been doing it so long that I don't remember back to the beginning. And then the whole other side of it is if my husband tries to give me feedback about anything, like as soon as he opens his mouth, I'm like, whoa, right? It's so different. So different. And I can't even, I'm getting better about it, just, be on the path that we are all on. And if you're listening to this, you're on that path too. That I am receiving my husband's comments a little differently because of the work that I'm doing in myself. Like I know that 9 times out of 10, I'm coming from a loving place. And if I do make a mistake or, like I know that my intentions are loving, but even still, receiving feedback about just about anything from my husband just really like attack. So if he's telling me I did something wrong, I'm gonna attack first, right? I'm gonna like, okay, you think I did that wrong? So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you've done wrong, right? Totally deflecting, totally switching it around. So that's where I go into attack with my husband. And then when I worked at the restaurant, in the very beginning, when I worked at Beer Creek, when someone would complain about something, I would go into defending mode. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, so this is why your sandwich isn't right, or like whatever it is. Like I would go, in certain situations, like I feel like the way to get out of those is defending. So I don't look bad. So the restaurant doesn't look bad. Even in horseback riding lessons, Lisa, I can't even remember what it is, but my trainer, Lisa, was talking about something that I was doing that wasn't quite right. And I found myself defending what I was doing. I mean, I quickly just shut my mouth because, right, she's been doing it for 20, 30 years and I've been doing it for 2, right? So I was like, ooh, but it was just interesting to see like like 3 basic ways to receive feedback, to actually take it in, to attack, right? And then to defend. And the most healthy one for me, it just feels so much better just to be silent and to take appreciation of what is going on. So those are my 3 stories about how to relate to feedback. And I would love to hear other people's stories. I think, Penny, you talked about giving feedback to a employee, coworker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment on what you shared before.
Oh yeah, please do, Morgan. Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to the very first woman and the fact that she apologized before giving the feedback and how much we do that. So maybe this episode is about receiving feedback, but I think it might be good to do an episode about giving feedback too, because I've been that person receiving a massage and like they're rubbing the shoulders a little too aggressively. And I'm like, mute. I'm mute. Yeah. I won't say anything. I won't speak up. And what is that about? So anyway, I just thought that interesting. And I loved how you outlined the 3 different ways to respond: acceptance, defend, attack.
Yeah. Morgan, well, we could talk about anything. This is our show. We get to decide. We get to pivot. Yeah, it's so interesting. So I get it. Like I've had massages. I'm a massage therapist, and sometimes, things get a bit uncomfortable and I'm breathing instead of speaking up, but that's just interesting to ponder. I'm interested to know, like, how long ago was that? Would you do it the same? Would you thing now? And what would you say?
That was years ago. I don't even remember. And I have had a massage more recently, and I wasn't given reason to speak up because it was a perfect massage. So yeah, and I don't know if I would. I think I would speak up, and I think I would just say, ouch.
Yeah.
Well, Morgan, it's so funny that you bring that up because just 4 days ago, I was getting a massage. I get a weekly massage. I have a great massage therapist here in California where I live. And she's been adjusting my wrist and my thumb every now and then because she can feel that it's kind of jammed up. And when she adjusted my wrist or my thumb, when I had my last massage, I could feel it wasn't, I shouldn't say she's not a chiropractor. She's a massage therapist. She was manipulating it. She could feel there was some, I don't know, you're the massage therapist, Amanda, you can tell me what she was feeling, but she just felt some blockage or something. And when she got done, because she like raised my arm and she's like snapped it a little bit, I could tell it was not done. Like what she had done had caused me to have more discomfort than I was having before, but I didn't say shit.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. And I thought, okay, because what I thought it was going to, sometimes after a massage, your body has to kind of work things out. And so I thought, oh, my thumb will just get better by tomorrow. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything. On Monday, I couldn't take it any longer. I can't put any pressure on the heel of my thumb right now. Mm-hmm. It's getting better today. And so I texted my massage therapist and she came in and she worked on the muscles. But I think I need a chiropractic adjustment now to get the bones out of place or something from her manipulating. I didn't say a thing. And she said to me when she came in, she goes, Penny, please, next time, say something to me in the moment. But I'm like you, Morgan. I like sometimes go, oh, it's okay, even though it's not okay. That's that people pleaser. I think we've talked so much about people pleasers, how I can be a people pleaser, but we've all talked about how we can be.
Yeah,
So,
it's partly that. It is definitely a big part of it is the people pleasing. But then there's that other piece, like in a yoga practice where you want to go to your edge, but it shouldn't be like acutely painful. It's like knowing the difference. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and they always say in yoga to go 2 steps from the edge, back from the edge, so that you never get to that pain point. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm learning still.
So to all of y'all and to all the people listening, I'm giving you permission to speak up during a massage because the majority of talented massage therapists want to know that information. So
absolutely.
A side note, everybody, a side note, and a shout out to all the massage theripists out there doing it with love. Mm-hmm. All right. We just had a little side journey. That was lovely.
I appreciate that, Amanda.
Yeah.
I've done the same as Morgan and Penny and not said anything. So
what was it about for you, Drusilla, that you didn't say anything?
I've done it in probably every aspect of everything I've ever had done to my body. and I'm not a people pleaser. I just don't like hurting people's feelings.
Yeah.
And if I really genuinely think they're doing a good job, I want them to continue to have the confidence. And I think it makes me feel like I'm going to rob them of their confidence or something. And I know that's not necessarily true, but that's what I feel like at the time.
So interesting. So interesting. Because that is a whole topic of discussion too, right? Is thinking that how other people should react, are going to react, and what is best for other people.
And thinking that we have the power over others to make them feel or act some way too. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. This would be a good setup for how to give feedback too, because there is that. Yeah. All right, Penny. So let's get back to receiving feedback.
Well, we haven't heard anything from Melissa yet. Do you have anything to add to this conversation that we just veered off to, Melissa, my dear?
I just like a really strong, deep massage. So I only really comment when either I'm in pain because I've asked for a strong massage, or it's just kind of this little light, airy, fairy massage. So I'm like, oh my God, put some back into it. So, and I think the whole time I'm thinking of dollar signs. I'm like, oh my God, I paid $100 for this. So,
going to get your money's worth.
Totally. So
it kills you or not.
That's so funny.
I do tend to say things probably because I'm thinking like I paid for this.
Yeah.
And I know I like a really deep massage. So if I don't tell someone that in the first place, they won't know what type of pressure to even start with. So that's been helpful.
Yeah. And also, isn't that the key to just life, is telling most people can't read your mind, and to actually speak what you want is, that's good stuff right there.
That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
We need a show secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morgan's probably writing it all down.
Yeah. And you listeners out there, if something that we say pops up, like, I'd like, please feel free to write in there too. So we have that. We would talk about. Can I say
something before we go into giving feedback? The husband thing for me, because we live and work together, is over the top. I mean, it's like your story, Amanda, on like full steroids. Because I get so triggered by feedback from my husband. That's air quotes, feedback. Yeah. Husband. Because it's kind of in all areas of my life. So he's a very kind person, and he is a very kind person, but sometimes it is a little bossy. Mm-hmm. But really it's my receiving. I'm very, very sensitive about things, and I wish I wasn't, but I am. And I know it comes from like that, like, aren't I good enough? Aren't I good enough? So it like stings, and I get very defensive. I know that I am hard to communicate with because I get so defensive over feedback. So it's definitely something I'm working on. Probably 80% of the time. 20% of the time, I'm like, oh yeah, bring it on. Let's do this. So, yeah.
Melissa, let me ask you this. Do you attack back, or do you defend? Like, this is why?
Oh, no. It's more defend. It is. Defend? Yeah. I have, and it's in there somewhere, mm-hmm. But it's really more of a defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I share with you all a tool that we use at our company that I do some leadership training at our company, and sometimes people don't know how to give feedback, right? They just want to blurt out and say, your massage sucks or whatever. Yeah. And they don't know how to do it. So if you guys are open for it, I'll share this tool because it's really easy, and you probably have heard of it. So what you do is you compliment, feedback, compliment. So you give the people a couple bits of great things that they're doing. And obviously it has to be authentic.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh, your hair looks so pretty today, or, oh, I like the blue color of your eyes. It has to be something like, I was giving some feedback in a performance improvement plan today. And really the person we were giving feedback to, she's made a tremendous effort and has really improved on getting to work on time. It's not 100%. But it's improving greatly. So I told her how, and her productivity at work, we have a manufacturing company. So we do have, we have jobs that need to be done on tangible products. It's not like we have a software company or something and we just need to put, So anyway, so she's a contributing member of the team that she's on too. And so I gave her all that feedback. And then I said, and then I gave her those compliments, and then I gave her the feedback. And then again, I complimented her again. It went pretty well, but she got very triggered as well. She's 23. And I have to tell you, when I was 23, 20, 21, 19, 18, 17, 16, I couldn't take feedback. Like you were saying, Melissa, I could not take it. I thought everybody was attacking me. And so I'm better. I'm not 100%. I still don't. It just depends on, like Amanda, you were saying, depends on the person who's giving you the feedback and their intent. And so if I feel that somebody's coming from a loving heart and builds me up a bit and gives me the feedback and then builds me up some more, then it feels better. You know.
These are not life skills that are taught. Like, why are we taught in high school how to receive feedback? Like, I learned this because I'm on a self-study, spiritual self-improvement path. I learned it in my 30s. I mean, Penny, how old were you when you learned how to receive?
Oh, probably in my 40s. Yeah.
Well, I was in my 50s.
I even had managers when I was younger. I mean, I had managers that would just blurt out what they didn't like about what I was doing when I was in sales. And it was just like, oh, and they would compare me to others like, oh, Mary does this. And I'm going, so okay, that's not helping me to tell me that Mary does it better than I do, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Or we've all had managers who give feedback in a group setting where it's completely inappropriate.
Yeah, I've done that still at times. I have to admit it. It's very inappropriate though.
Yeah. And as far as giving feedback, for me, it's really uncomfortable in most situations to give feedback. And in a group setting, there's like a safety that the person can't attack you back. I'm not saying it's right or it's appropriate. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, as we're learning about ourselves and learning about other people's like personalities, that there's safety, like some people's reactions or the way some people conduct their lives is because for safety. This is what they think makes them safe, which for me allows just a little bit more compassion. And definitely any listener out there, I get it. I get it. Giving feedback is hard and receiving it is hard as well in some situations. So Drusilla, we haven't had you talk yet.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think that I have a really tough skin. Mm-hmm. And I think that I can attribute that to probably being raised in a family of 10. People will say anything, so I can say that I was just thinking through, high school, college, all my jobs. I remember someone asking me just a couple years ago about getting a bad performance review and how I might have acted. And I said, well, I've never gotten one. But if I think back, it's maybe that, everybody that gave them to me were really good at doing it. Or maybe I just never thought any of them were bad. That's a different perspective. Mm-hmm. They could have had negative things to say, but maybe in my mind, oh, wow, that was great. They only had one thing that I needed to work on, so I think that was probably it. I doubt I skated through life with, just doing everything right. So it's definitely a perspective, I think. So yes, I think it does help to do what you called it, Penny, which we called it the sandwich approach.
Yep.
You put it in there, right? But I think based on where we are in our spiritual journeys, is to really kind of delve into those triggers and understanding how you're receiving the feedback. What does it really mean to you? What's the meaning you're making of it? Mm-hmm.
That's a really good point, Drusilla. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling that probably made things not sting for me, is that I probably didn't make much meaning of it, but to Amanda and Melissa's point, when it comes to that old spouse of mine, it just hits a little different. And I have actually noticed that since I've been with the studying the course. And yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the first things I realized. The book by Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, when he talks about when you see a car going down the road, and if that car looks just like the car of someone that broke your heart, then you have this feeling in your gut versus, just a random car going down the road. If you didn't have that heartbreak attached to it, you feel nothing, right? So when I realized that lesson, it was my goal to work on how I receive feedback from people, even if it's someone really close to me, in which that's when it stings the most. I just recognized it. And so I do try to work on it, and try not to be so sensitive to it, even when it's my husband. But yeah, and I laugh at myself when I still do get triggered by any type of feedback he tries to give me. It's hard though. And I still can't quite pinpoint why it's so challenging to take it from my husband more than anybody else. Because I think, Melissa, it's the same as what you're saying. It feels like an attack on your worthiness. And yeah, so that's still work in progress. But for the most part, I don't have a challenge receiving feedback.
Have you ever given feedback and it be uncomfortable? Like you can tell the person that is receiving that feedback was going into like attack or defend or.
Yes, I definitely have. I was a manager. I started managing people in my 20s. So yes, I've had to do it a lot. I've never had like a bad experience in the workplace. Probably the most difficult has been a family member. I remember that my sister got into an argument with my sister-in-law. And though I knew that my sister-in-law kind of provoked the situation, the feedback I gave my sister was, that you still allowed her to make you go out of character. And my sister didn't like that, much at all. And so situations like that, I would say is, and they're more sensitive, right? They're family type of situations and conflict. Those are usually the ones that are more difficult for me to give and for people to receive. Because it does seem as if you're really kind of taking a hit at their character. And I find those situations to be a little more difficult. Or also when there's a person and they're asking you for advice and they want you to side with them. And that's the whole reason they're coming to you for feedback. Those can be very difficult as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like trying to speak the truth and be gentle about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating to watch people when they start to defend and attack. It's just really, I'm just so grateful and thankful that I can see it. And then I always thank God for showing me the ways that I don't want to behave and, having people show up in my life to remind me that I don't want to attack and defend. Well, and one of my favorite lessons in A Course in Miracles, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And I think about that every time I start to feel myself defending myself. I don't have to defend myself. There's nothing to defend. Yeah. And in A Course in Miracles too, when we attack others, we're actually, putting the sword on ourselves, attacking ourselves. So why do that too? Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a story to share. So all of you know, my sister is going through cancer treatment. And so I'd been on vacation, and even a week before I went on vacation, I didn't get to travel up to see her because we were trying to get the renovations done in the condo and all of that. And so I just saw her this past weekend. And when I walked in the door, she started crying. Mm-hmm. And she started crying because she said, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I've seen you, or since you've come to see me. And she was so hurt. And she, and not only was she hurt by me, she named off other people that she was disappointed in. And I really felt a strong compassion for her. And all the time while she was talking, I kept saying to myself, this is how I should feel anytime someone attacks me, because it was an attack. I have to say, it wasn't as if she was being gentle with me at all. But I did have a level of compassion, and maybe it was because of what she's going through. And on top of, like you said, Penny, being able to recognize the guilt, the wanting to attack back. Mm-hmm. And I made a conscious decision to say, yes, this is how I should respond when anyone attacks me, because it's a cry for help. It's a cry for love, right? And I just said to her, I understand. I get it. I would feel the same. And that's what I said the entire time. And I felt it with so much compassion that she quickly calmed down and said, I apologize. But I've just been going through so much, and I literally cry every day. And it was just, and it's just, I love when Spirit just gives us those examples, and a point of reference, because that's how I would want to be treated. I've been hurt. I've had my feelings hurt. I've attacked people based on that. And sometimes people can receive it, and sometimes they attack back. And that's how major conflicts happen, right? So yeah, that was a great example.
Let me ask you this, Drusilla. If you would have gone into defend mode, like if you would have started explaining like why you weren't there, do you think that the conversation would have been different?
I do. And it entered my mind, all the examples, they started going through my mind, the excuses. Well, I have been on vacation. Mm-hmm. Well, I had to get my car worked on even before that, and yeah, the excuses were in my mind, but I said not a one. And then when she did apologize, she said, she said, I'm so sorry. I do know you were on vacation. It's just that I really thought you were going to come see me, and she didn't realize that I had gone out of town again after I came back from Greece. But I didn't bring that up either. My husband happened to be there, and, he brought it up. And so in the car on our way home, he did mention, he was like, I'm so proud of you for how you handled that. And I said, no, you know what? This is how I should always handle someone who's on the attack, because it wasn't about me. It really wasn't. It was about her being able to express the pain she was feeling inside,
I'm really glad you said that, Drusilla, because that's exactly the way I felt today with the employee that we were talking with. I just felt compassion for her. I mean, there's no need to take anything personally. When she started to defend herself and semi felt that we were attacking her, I wasn't. Sometimes when the feedback is personal, I'm going to say, personally about you, it can appear that somebody's attacking you as well, or attacking me when it's a real personal, but it's, Oh, these life lessons.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a pretty tough one, you know. And she actually said to my husband, she said, did you tell her that she needs to come by and see me today? And my husband said to her, no, quite the opposite, because it was getting really late. And I said to my husband, I know you're probably going to make me have to drive back the 3 hours, but we have to go see my sister because I cannot leave without going by to see my sister. And he told her that I said that, and that totally took all the wind out of her sail, you know.
How inspirational, Drusilla.
And I wonder how
I think we all have that side of us. It's just that, you know, sometimes when things either catch you off guard or just like we said earlier, it's our triggers, right? If we have the capacity to do it any other time, we could do it 100% of the time, you know. We just have to recognize when she obviously did hit some triggers for me, but I chose to see it differently.
Yeah, that does make a difference. Sorry, go ahead, Morgan.
Well, I was going to say, like, I was at my last job for 17 years, and I started down this A Course in Miracles path somewhere along the way, 7-8 years ago. And there was such a shift in the way that I received and gave feedback as I started studying these spiritual principles. But it didn't prevent the same reaction from occurring inside my body. Like, if I perceived someone was giving feedback, I would still get the racing heart, and I would still get those thoughts, like you were describing, how you still had all of those thoughts that you needed to rush to defend. But we're not choosing that. Like, they still show up, but we're just not choosing that. We're choosing a different path. And that's how we're rewiring our neural pathways and reprogramming, deprogramming. And so I think it's just like, it's okay if we still, and I think we do give ourselves a little bit of a hall pass with our husbands. Like, I was so much more diligent with my coworkers and my bosses than I am with my husband, like leaps and bounds. And that's not fair to him. And it's not fair to me and my own personal growth. So that's an interesting thing to look at. Like, I was pretty consistent at work. Like, I pretty consistently recognized the urge to defend myself or to go into attack, but I didn't do it. And yeah, that's just, I'm not having those same statistics with my husband at all.
Well, our husbands are our greatest teachers, right? So they're just here to teach us.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm willing to do better. I'm willing to.
Me too.
I want the same results that I had at work.
So Morgan, when you started not defending or attacking from feedback, how did that shift your work environment?
Honestly, it's all for us that we do this work, you know. Like, I just had so much more peace because I wasn't letting my mind just run me ragged and run me in circles, telling stories to myself, making up meaning, interpreting what people meant with their words, and just taking things as they came, addressing the issues matter-of-factly and kindly, and not taking offense at every little thing, like not taking it personally, like the 4 agreements, like not taking things personally. Just remembering, coming back to, I don't remember if it was Drusilla or Penny who referenced the A Course in Miracles, that I have given everything all the meaning it has for me. just reminding myself of that. Like I make up so much of the stories that cause my suffering that aren't even necessarily true. And if on the off chance they are true, it's that person's problem. It's not my problem. And it doesn't have to do with me. Like I'm just going to deal with the facts that are in front of me, and I'm not going to take it personally. And so just giving and receiving feedback, it became kind of fun to challenge myself and stretch myself and practice that with these tools. It's very empowering having these tools.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. And you guys, I can't believe how fast this time went. We are coming to the end of this podcast. So any final thoughts before we hear Penny's thoughts?
I feel like Melissa has a final thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Way to speak your truth, Melissa. No, you don't.
I don't.
Well, let's sandwich it. Compliment, feedback, compliment. Doesn't that look like a sandwich?
It does.
It does. I love it.
Yeah. And it looks like a hamburger roll, right? The top stick. Compliment, feedback, compliment. Lovely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in again this week. And please check out our website, 5lemonslaughing.com. Follow us on social media and tell your friends. And we'll see you again next week.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Have a great week, everyone.